Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm not going to do a fancy introduction for this video only because this was sort of like a spur of the moment type thing. I actually started it before. I wanted to show you how I made this little book here, but it was complicated. So for this video, I just wanted to come on and swatch some paints with you all. So it's going to be, I guess, more of a chatty video while I swatch my watercolor palettes here. I've been all over the place. I've been feeling really down and sort of unproductive and just not creating much of anything. I kind of feel like in the stuck mode, and I get like this from time to time where I just kind of feel stuck. I feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again, and there's not that much growth happening, and it's just, I get into a really huge funk, and that's where I'm currently at right now, is within this funk. And I've been thinking about sort of, I don't know, like doing more art stuff, like drawing, like taking up drawing again and stuff like that. And then at the same time, it's this whole thing where like just the starting over of it and the practicing, and I'm a perfectionist, so I won't ever share anything that I don't think is good enough to share. So all of that stuff would sort of be behind the scenes, like I won't really share much of it until I think it's worthy of sharing, and just me just contemplating whether do I want to go that route, do I want to scrapbook, do I want to keep art journaling, do I want to make journals, like I don't know where I want to go with my creativeness, I guess you can say. So that's where the whole being stuck comes into play. Anyway, I've been wanting to do this for a while. I wanted to create a color swatch book, so just like a little notebook where I swatch out some of my supplies, and I've been wanting to do it with these watercolor tins because I think they're similar. Okay, what I have here, I have the Jane Davenport one, which is my favorite, maybe because the tin is blue, but I really love the colors that come in this tin. And so I use this. This is what I take with me if I go anywhere and want watercolor. But I also have two Prima ones, and I think one of them is, let's see, I think, yeah, okay. I have the Pastel Dreams one, and I have the Tropicals, so this one's the Tropicals. And I tried combining like all of my, not all of my, but like some of the colors into like one tin, because these tins can obviously fit more. But I noticed that there's a lot of colors in here that are similar to the Jane Davenport ones, but I never actually really swatched them all out like on watercolor paper, not on these cheapo laminated type cards, just to, you know, to see. And so I was like, might as well do that. And then I have tons of loose watercolors from when I was in school, and they're old. Like, let me tell you right now, these watercolors are hella old, and I haven't actually looked through them. I'm pretty sure they're all dry. They're all in tubes. I'm pretty sure they're all dried out, but the thing with watercolor is even if they're dried out, I can just cut the packaging and just use that because it's water reactive. So, but yeah, so I kind of want to maybe swatch some of those or check that box out. Like, I don't even know what the box is. I have to find it, of just different watercolor tubes. But yeah, I wanted a place where I can just swatch my stuff. And then I've been toying with the idea of getting some Prismacolor pencils. I used to have a bunch of them, but I think there's some pencils in here, but I can't, let me see. Let me take all these drawing pencils out. I think these are the only Prismacolor pencils that I have left, and a lot of them are like destroyed only because I had them in a bag, and when my dog was a puppy, this is how old these guys are. If you saw what my recent Instagram post, you would know that my dog just turned 11, so these are old, but he got into the bag and chewed up some of them. That's why they kind of look like this. They're all splintered. Well, these guys are splintered because he got into the bag and chewed up some of the pencils when he was a very naughty puppy. But yeah, this is all like legit that I have left of my Prismacolor pencils, and I had a lot of them because I went to an arts high school, and usually the classes that I would take, that I would choose, were like illustration classes, and most of them were color pencil illustration or children's book illustration, something like that. So we used a lot of Prismacolors. And so I was thinking of investing in like a nice set of Prismacolors to start drawing, because that's what I'm used to. I'm used to drawing things. And the thing is, I kind of suck at drawing. I think I'm very good at realistic portrait drawing in pencil, so just in graphite, and I haven't done that in a while. But I kind of want to explore color, because I use the same colors everywhere, but I just really want to push myself to explore color and be more mixed media-y, but that's really hard because my minimalist tendencies when it comes to art, journaling, you know. Anyway, so I made this little book, and I really wanted to record the process of it, and I might insert some of the terrible footage that I recorded here so you can see my struggle. But I originally put this together with a Coptic stitch. So if you see the cover has some holes where I did a Coptic stitch, and I didn't like it because it was flimsy, like this moved around too much. So I tore it apart and was trying a different thing, and I bound this with some embroidery thread, and then I tore that apart again. And I had recently made this journal here, and it's basically Stalgy. It's Stalgy paper that I took from the back of my B6 Stalgy, and the Stalgy book is like that thick. And I kind of bound it the same way that I bound this, and then made a cover and put it on. And so I was like, maybe I can do the same thing for here. And so that's what I did. So I used thread, you can see thread, and I sewed all of the watercolor pages together. So these are watercolor pages that I just kind of, sheets of watercolor paper that I tore down so that I can have like the pretty decal edge. And I kind of sewed them with thread to each other. So it kind of looks like Coptic, but it's not. And then what I did was I used some Maggie Holmes paper here to make the front and back cover, and what I did was I deckled them, and since I had the holes punched, I took a piece of fabric that sort of matched, and I kind of sandwiched the fabric in between two pieces of cardstock pattern paper. So this is from Notes and Things here, and I left the spine like this, obviously. And what I did was I took some really sticky adhesive, like you can still feel it. It's Frank Garcia's memory hardware tape from Prima, and it's really strong. And I just kind of stuck this down right on top of it, and it works perfectly. So this is the little book that I will be doing some swatches in. And if you see here, like I try to like sketch out some boxes to like do the swatch in, but then I erased it all and it just looked really bad. So this is my first page, and I think I'm going to swatch the Jane Davenport watercolors on this page here, and then maybe this page Prima, and then I have all these other pages to do whatever other swatch things that I want to do. But I figured might as well, you know, turn the camera on and swatch some stuff with you and just talk about being blah. I guess this is how I'm feeling, and I've been feeling this for a while now. I've just been feeling really, really, really blah. So this is a water brush. I don't know what brand this is. It says it right here. It's the CRAFTY water brush. I don't know. I think I got it from Jet Pens a really long time ago. I have those water brushes from Michaels that are like really bad. So this is the only one that I really use, and I really should invest in more water brushes because, again, this is the only one that I really use. But yeah, so I am going to just start swatching these guys out. I don't think I'm a very good swatcher person at all. Let's see. This is okay. It's good to clean. I don't know what I'm doing because, to be quite honest, I'm not like an artist person. Like, I feel like, okay, I don't mean to offend like anybody, and I'm pretty sure there's a reason why people gravitate towards the more professional, more expensive art supplies. I get it. They're better quality. Their light fastness is better. It's good if you're going to make art that you're going to sell and stuff like that. But I call those, like, I always refer to people like that when I watch like review videos. I'm just like, they're kind of art supply snobs, and they're not. They actually have reasons to purchase the more expensive ones or to favor the more expensive art supplies over like these guys where you can get like at Michael's and stuff like that. But I guess because I'm not really a professional artist, I don't really care if the supplies, you know, are cheap or not cheap or whatever. I don't know. I'm just ranting now. You know, if it works and it's pretty and all that fun stuff, then I like it. So I am terrible at swatching again, of course. Here we get it. That's my long little rant about art supplies. I don't know. If the supplies work for you, they work for you. Not everybody is going to favor the same art supplies. And, you know, art is expensive. Art supplies are expensive. I don't know how I want to swatch this. That's Buzzy. Let's see, I guess we can go just down the road. Down the row of things, that is Buzzy, and this one is Ladybug. I love the Jane Davenport colors, like her color schemes that she comes up with. She's very whimsical and fun, and I really like her colors that she chooses. Yeah, I should have, I don't know why I left that space there, but whatever. Again, like I said, I suck at swatching. This one is Butterfly. So these first colors are like primary colors. Never noticed that about the Jane Davenports. They're the primary colors. Yeah, you see, like, that's all the same color, and so is that. I suck at swatching. But I just kind of want to get the colors down here. I guess you can say I'm not a really serious artist. I don't know, maybe it's because, I don't know. I think art is a form of self-expression, and I don't think there's a such thing as good or bad art. So if there's no such thing as good or bad art, there can't be a such thing as good or bad art supplies. Because there are people who make art out of like toilet paper rolls, and you see that stuff in modern art and contemporary art museums all the time. And so it's like, hi, how much do you think they spent on toilet paper rolls to make that art piece when we're spending like hundreds of dollars on professional art supplies? So that's just my reasoning. You can be an art supply snob. I don't care. And I'm sorry if I call you guys that, or I apologize if I offend anybody with that. But literally that's what I call people in my head. I'm just like, okay, they're one of those. They value the art supplies because of course you need the better the art supplies that you have, the better your art will be, and that is not the case at all. I don't know what color that was. I think that was Mermaid. And this one was 70s eyeshadow. And I apologize if you hear like a lot of city noise, but I do have my window open, and again, I'm feeling very blah, so who knows if I'm going to edit most of that out. Probably not. So enjoy the ambient city noise. But what was I saying? I was saying, yeah, so I think a lot of people think that the more expensive art supplies that they have, the better their art will be, and that is never the case. You can make beautiful pieces with like really cheap art supplies. It doesn't really matter if you have the most expensive supplies. It really doesn't. The only thing that matters with the more expensive art supplies is if you're going to sell the art piece, then it makes sense. Okay, you need good art supplies because you want the painting or the drawing or whatever you make to last. And I think that's the only advantage to really good art supplies. Other than that, the cheapo art supplies are great. They're cheap, and if you can make it work and make beautiful art, hey, that's awesome. That is a really pretty color. That is called Best Friend. I like that bright pink color. It's pretty. And again, I suck at swatching. See, I needed more gradient of color on those top ones, but you know what? I just want to get it swatched into my little book and just chat. So those are my controversial thoughts on art supplies and art snobs and stuff like that. So hi, how are you doing today? I hope you're well. I hope you're better than I am feeling at the moment. I'm feeling a little blah, blah, and not irritated, but I might sound irritated. I sound irritated to myself, but I'm not really irritated. I'm just more, I'm tired, I'm blah. And I say blah because I don't like the word depressed. I think we're all depressed, but I don't feel sad. I feel blah. And there's a difference between feeling down and sad and everything and feeling blah. Feeling blah for me, it's like I feel like I need to be doing things and then I'm not doing them. Does that make sense? I'm probably procrastinating. I don't know. I just feel kind of, I guess I said it before, I feel stuck and lost. And it's just, you know, it's like a headspace thing. I just got to figure it out myself and just jump in and do something. And usually that's what happens. I figure it out, jump in, do it, and then I'm really good at being productive and stuff, and then the cycle starts all over again. And you know what? That is my life. That is what happens. That's how I roll, I guess. I don't know. But it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks when you're in this blah thing that I am in right now. It's just, you know, you got to get through the suckage to get to the not sucky part of it. Anyway, I got some of the blue in this. Oops. I love these colors. They're so Jane. They're so Jane Davenport. Like, they're bright and beautiful and candy colored and mermaid, and they're awesome. Love it. So this one is ink here. I feel like I should do this in pen and not pencil, but I am going to do it in pencil. In this really old 8B Derwent graphic pencil that I have here that I probably got from my dad. So since this is a chatty video, I should probably tell you a little bit about myself that maybe you don't already know. So I was born and raised in New York City, and my dad, who is no longer with us, he literally worked his whole entire life at the the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which I think was super cool. I think a lot of people think that's super cool, but he didn't really have like a fancy job or whatever. He started out as a security guard, and then he took a test to become an engineer, and then since he was there long enough, he actually he moved on up to be the head of the roofing department. And so it's more like a maintenance-y type job, but he was in charge of the roof. So I don't know if you've ever been to the Metropolitan Museum of Art here in New York City, but there's a roof of it, and the museum is huge. A roof, and on the roof there's a roof garden. There's where they do in the spring mostly is where they do the installations out there in the roof garden. So my dad would, when, you know, there was something that needed to go up there, he would, you know, he would be in charge of managing things up there. So anything that had to do with the roof. So anytime there was like a snowstorm or a rainstorm, that he would have to work overtime to make sure that there was no leaks in the galleries and stuff like that, and he would have to fix them up, or his, you know, his department was in charge of fixing all that stuff up. Those banners that you saw in the front, so you know how I think most museums have like banners that hang in the front of the museum that tell you what the new exhibit is. He took great pride in putting those up himself. So my dad would put those up, he would change them out, he would put them up. He worked there for a while, and so like literally any time that I would go to the museum with him, like everybody knew him. Like everybody knew my dad in that museum. It's ridiculous. He, you know, if there was something wrong in a gallery, usually if there was a leak, or if there was something like a hole in the wall or whatever, they would call my dad. Even for things that weren't roofing related, they would call my dad. Don't know why, but again, he used to work. Ooh, I'm getting paint all over me. So anyway, that's my dad. He used to work at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, but he would always come home with, you know, depending, I mean, we're such a wasteful society, it's ridiculous, but merchandise, you know, like the gift shop, oh my god, I couldn't remember, the gift shop, a lot of the times they would have faulty merchandise or like imperfect merchandise, so they would never sell them, so they would throw them away. And sometimes my dad would take them if they were going to get rid of something because it's no good to sell. He would take it and he would bring it home. And so I don't know if my mom still kept all of them, but he would have so many replicas. You know how you can buy a replica of like a statue, whatever? He would bring home like the imperfect replicas, the ones that they wouldn't sell. And if there was like an art set that something was wrong with it, he would bring it home and he would give it to me. So I have a lot of like art set things, you know, from the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And I would get, you know, he would just bring home art supplies in those little sets like that and stuff like that. So I think that's where this pencil's from. I think. I don't know. I really don't know how I got this because I did not buy this. For school, I would get, I feel like it was these. Design drawing brush pencils. No. It might have been these, but it was definitely these Fine Art Graphic. I don't even know what brand this is. I had a set of pencils like this. And I think I had a set of these green ones as well. So I have no idea where I got this. Again, I think it's from the Met. Anyway, that was a really long spiel about this pencil and where it came from. This one's called Jiminy, as in Jiminy Cricket. That's awesome. This palette is super Disney. Like, I mean, when I think Disney, I think pastels because, come on, everything, when you go to Disney World, like when you go to Magic Kingdom or if you go to Disneyland in Anaheim or even Disneyland in Paris or Tokyo, it's pastel. Like, everything is pastel. Like, there's no such thing as, like, red, what is it? Red, yellow, black, white Disney. Like, those are Mickey colors. Those aren't really Disney colors. They're Mickey colors, but the actual parks are pastel. So I think I like pastels for Disney. But even like the brighter colors can, like these colors, you can definitely water them down and make them pastel. But you know, they're just bright and colorful. Disney is bright and colorful. It is not yellow, red, black, and white. That's just Mickey. Everything else has color. Which is a pet peeve of mine when it comes to Disney-themed scrapbooking, like scrapbooking stuff. Everything is those colors. Everything is the yellow, red, black, and white. And I'm just like, that is not representative of Disney. It's just not. Disney is very colorful. I would love to see, you know, a Disney collection from these big, you know, big scrapbooking companies that was colorful. I guess that's why I really liked the, oh my god, Fairy Tale Club. I was on their design team. Andrea's collections are always colorful and Disney, and they're awesome. But yeah, anyway, Jiminy made me talk about Disney. This one's called Butterfly. I really like the 70s eyeshadow one. That is a very pretty color. Obviously, that is my color. Who knows what's happening outside? I don't know if you heard that, but that was loud. It was a screech. Who the heck knows? I live in one of the noisiest cities in the entire world. We like noise here. Cool. These are the Jane Davenport ones. I don't know what this one's called. This one. Is it the Brights? Like, I don't know what the palette is called. I know it's Jane Davenport, but I don't know what the palette is called. So I went ahead and closed my window because, whew, this city is hella noisy, and I don't know what the heck was happening outside. And yeah, like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna edit all that previous stuff out because I repeated myself so many times because it's loud. But yeah. So this is the Jane Davenport. Watercolors. I think this is the bright, but I don't know. I would have to look that up. So that is that one. And I think this is all pretty dry. But you know what? I will fold it over and I will just work on this side. Let's cut this thread off. We'll work on this side. And do these guys. These are the tropicals. Actually, I know they have numbers. Let's actually do pastel on this side and then tropicals over here. So these are the Prima. These are the Prima watercolors. These are the Pastel Dreams. And of course I got them because they say pastel on them, but I don't think these are that as pigmented as the other ones, the other thing. But let me put this in order because these are not in order. Alright, I think they're in order now. I think they're in order now. But yeah. I don't understand why there's like a brown in this one, in this set. But there's like 2 browns. I don't get that. It's supposed to be pastels. Why are there 2 browns? I don't know. I really don't know. Can possibly tell you why there are 2 browns. Two muddy looking browns. I don't get it. So yeah, I would really love to use these watercolors more. Again, I suck at watercolor. Like, I am no good at watercolor. I remember taking watercolor. Okay, so in high school, I went to an arts high school. I went to the Fame School. If you know anything about New York City, we have a school that was based, that the movie Fame was based on. So I go to that. It's a specialized high school. It's called LaGuardia. And I went to that school for high school. And I got in for art. And so I went for art. Actually, I really wanted to be, I remember the audition process. I really didn't want to go to high school. I kind of wanted to be homeschooled because I had such a bad middle school experience that I just didn't want to be in like a school environment. I'm just like, I could just learn all this stuff on my own, finish early, and then be done with it, you know? But, of course, I don't have that luxury of being homeschooled, so the only high school I got into was LaGuardia. And usually the application process, you know, you take a test to get into the specialized high schools, like the really smart ones, the science, like Stuyvesant and stuff like that. And then you have to audition to get into the art schools, and the only specialized art school was LaGuardia. And you basically can audition for like all the things. And so I think I auditioned for a couple of them, and I got into art. And then you can apply to the regular high schools regularly, so everything is separate. And so I didn't get into any of the regular high schools. I don't know. I got into the art specialized high school, so really I didn't have a choice. Like, my choice was made for me. That was the only school that I got into, so that's where I went. And looking back on it, I was a very ungrateful child because tons and tons of kids who did not get into LAG wanted to get, like, they wanted to go to that school, and here I was. That was the only school that I got into, and I was not happy about it. I wanted to be homeschooled. Like, I did not want anything to do with going to school. But in hindsight, of course, I am glad I went. I'm glad I stuck it out. I am glad about all those things because I made, you know, people make friends for life in college. That was not me. I made friends for life in high school, and they're still my friends. We're friends since like some of them I've known since freshman year, and that's insane. But yeah. So anyway, so I got in for art, and you basically have your art classes and then your academics. And to be fair, that school did not care about academics very much. Everything was focused on your art. And we had, you know, when you're a freshman, you have studio practice. That's what they're called, SP classes. And I remember freshman year, the second semester, our studio art practice was watercolor. Watercolor, which is why I have all those fancy watercolors somewhere. I do have them in a box somewhere. Anyway, I absolutely sucked at watercolor. Oh my god. I sucked at acrylic painting too, because I took acrylic painting as well. I can't paint. Like, you know, the thing is, what they teach you though is, you know, life painting and stuff like that, life sketching, life drawing. You draw things, you draw still lives and stuff like that. And I suck at drawing still lives. I think the only thing that I was good at drawing that was like real life sort of thing were portraits. I liked portrait, like I liked drawing faces, and portrait in just graphite. So just pencil. I think it was because I really enjoyed shading. I was very good at that. And so usually I like what I'm good at. I don't know why that is, but again, I think it's a perfectionist thing. This perfectionism. Anyway, so yeah, watercolor. I absolutely sucked at watercolor. Oh my god. Like, I think most of my art from that time I just kind of threw out, except for my illustration, my children's illustration. I used color pencils for that class. I kept all that, only because, you know, children's illustration is all imaginative. It all comes from your imagination, and when it comes from your imagination, it doesn't have to look perfect. It doesn't have to look a certain way like a still life has to look. It can be whatever. And that was a bit more liberating to draw than something that is, you know, real life. I don't know. It doesn't, I guess, you know, when you're learning an art, you have to learn all of that stuff first, and then you can break the rules and do whatever you want. Because I don't know, if you've ever looked at a contemporary or modern or a contemporary art museum, like a lot of that stuff you can probably do. Like that's art now. It's all about art now, for the most part. I think is all about concepts. It's all conceptual, it's all thinking instead of skill. Especially the stuff that you see in museums now, everything is all conceptual. Nothing is really about skill. It's all about an idea and then executing that idea with whatever. And that's cool, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. But I feel like the best art are the ones that take that concept or whatever that thought is, and then you know, the artist has the skill to do it in a different, cool sort of way. I don't know. I guess you can say I'm an art snob too. I'm an art snob in a way that I just, you know, I don't get art snobs. I'm an art snob who doesn't get art snobs. I don't know. I think a lot of things are art. So, you know, I like pretty things. So the art that I'm usually attracted to are ones that are just pretty. I'm just like, that's pretty. That's cute. I like that. The stuff that's I can't speak today. Conceptual, you know, like sometimes the concept goes way over my head. Like, I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, if I have to think too much, I'm just like, I really do, though, like political art, like art that makes a statement that you can easily understand the statement by looking at the art, and it's relevant to what's happening right now in society and stuff like that. I love those pieces. I think those are great. But like these wacko, like conceptual pieces that you have to really think about it, like I think that's the whole point of them. It's not really about the art, it's more about the thought process behind the art. Those guys, I'm just like, I guess I don't get it. Whatever. I don't know. But that's all art. I guess that's why I like following artists online, not so much artists that end up in galleries and museums and stuff, because you can see the joy that online artists. I mean, we live in a digital age, so it's very easy to be an online artist, but I feel like they enjoy what they do and it shows in their art, and it's way better. It's way better art than stuff that you can find at a museum. That's just my opinion. I know people who probably won't agree with that, and that's cool. I don't care. But yeah, I don't know. You should be able to see the joy in whatever the thing is, I think. It's not about if it's meaning, like if it says something. Because, art doesn't have to say anything. I think most people who create art, any type of art, they do it because that's, it's a reflection of themselves and that's what they love, and they're just channeling emotions and processes, I guess. I don't know. I can be contradicting myself right now because I do it all the time. I think it's ingrained in my personality. I have thoughts, and then other days I have different thoughts that contradict the other thoughts that I had the other day. Hopefully that made sense, because I don't know what I just said, but yeah. This one's called Bumblebee. Why do we always have to name yellows after bees? I totally messed up. I'm glad I wrote this in pencil and not in pen like I thought I was going to write. Now to see if this pencil actually erases, because you can tell I haven't used these supplies in a while. Really, I've just been using paper. I'm very good at using paper. But like mediums, different mediums. I'm kind of rusty. I don't play with them as often, only because I'm sort of like I guess you can say a lazy artist. I don't like the cleanup after the creating of stuff, and I don't like it sitting around either, so it's kind of like so I try to go with dry mediums. That's why I was thinking about getting into color pencils again, because it's a dry medium. And I can't do markers. Me and markers, we never got along. I never mastered the skill of a marker. I'm good with pencils. I guess because markers are they're permanent, and pencils aren't quite permanent. You can try to erase them. Can you erase color pencils? I don't even know. I think you can, but it's really hard. This one's called chocolate. Chocolate. Wow, this one's called brown. That is a very, very, what you call it, original name. Anyway, so this is Prima. Prima watercolor. And this one is pastel. Dreams. Oh, that almost fit. Almost. Alright. That's pastel dreams. And now I think on this side we can do the other one, which is tropicals. And I just realized the tropical set doesn't actually have names. They have numbers. That sucks. Anyway, this one is number 13. It's like an emeraldy green. This one is number 14. This tropical one is more deeper colors. I really don't know why I got it, because it's not really filled with colors that I would use. So yeah, I don't know. Oops. Orange. I think orange is my least favorite color out of like all the colors. Like, I'm not a yellow person, but I can appreciate yellow. Orange, I do not like orange. Do not like orange. Orange is my brother's favorite color though. His room is orange. It's like a Nickelodeon orange too. It's like really bright. And then my room is green. Except mine is not a Nickelodeon slime green. It's just, you know, that tealish green that you all know. But I thought that was funny. Green and orange. Nickelodeon colors. That red kind of looks like, well, we'll have to see it when it dries. That might be comparable to one of the Jane Davenport colors. Maybe. And yes, I am rinsing off my brush, my water brush, in a glass filled with water. I don't think there's water left in the actual tube, and I'm just being really lazy and not getting up to refill it, so. So yeah, these are a bit more earthy, I think, the tropical ones. Like, yeah, I don't know why I purchased this set, because, no, it's weird. I'm weird. There are just some things that, I don't know. I think I purchased this set first, and then I was debating the classics or the tropicals. I think those are the only two that came out. There was one that Prima was supposed to come out with, and then they never did, but I think some people have it because they were like on the Prima design team or something. I forgot which one it was called. I want to say it's Celestial, and I'm like, I really want that palette, but I don't think you can find it anywhere. Oh, actually, I need these. Well, these are just numbers, so this one's 24. I'm smudging all of my colors, so I really have to let that one dry before I can put the little title. I don't know if that's paint or like pencil. No idea, but I got it on that color there. It was probably when my hand dipped into the brown, and then yeah. It's when it dipped into the brown, and then it dipped. So that one's going to be funny. Let me see if I can get the palette. That one is Paradise. Gotta let that dry now. Anyway, I really like these colors down here. They're light, but I think, like, I'm pretty sure you can make these colors out of the Jane Davenport one. You just have to water it down, but like fully pigmented, they make this pretty color. I love that rose color. The lemonade color is really nice too. Is that lemonade supposed to be pink? It totally is supposed to be pink. Huh. Actually, these have numbers too, but I prefer the names over the numbers. I still don't know why there's 2 browns in this one. I don't get that at all. I don't know. And then, yeah, the Jane Davenport ones are my favorite. They're really bold here because I didn't really swatch them out right. Didn't swatch them out correctly. So this one is Prima, of course. And this one is the Tropical. Is it Tropical or Tropicals? It's Tropicals with an S. Cool. That S looks weird. Anyway, I am glad I have the first 3 pages done. My first 3 palettes done, and I think that's good. I think that is all for this video. I probably might make a sequel where I swatch out all of those tubey ones, all the watercolors that I have in tubes that are really old, so I really don't know how well they are, but I will try to find that box so that I can come on and swatch some of these colors, some of those colors in here, and maybe like clean them out, you know, figure out which ones are good and which ones aren't, and swatch them and then tell you some more stories or opinions and things. Today was a day. I think you can tell by my voice or just the tone of my voice that today has been a day, and yeah. I don't know, I feel like it's a whole different side of me, but you will be the judge, because we all have opinions on each other. We all judge people by what we say, how we look, how we act, all that fun stuff, and you can try really hard not to judge people, but you do. It's like it's an innate thing that we do. We just tend to compare and scrutinize and judge because we are imperfect human beings, and that is just what we do. It's unfortunate, right? But this is not going to dry very well. You can tell that there's like a splotch there, but that's fine. As long as the color is there, I'm good. This color is like a darker color than that one. Yeah, it's just a darker color, that one. This color, Mermaid, is kind of similar to that one. Ladybug seems like it's in between this Crimson and 19. And then the dark purple, I'm pretty sure this purple can get like that. What else? These 2 are really similar, and it's from the same palette, so go figure. Okay, Bumblebee, Buzzy is a little more, kind of a little more yellowy orange, like more of like a, what is it, cadmium orange, yellow. This one's a little lighter, and I just touched that. Citrus and 21 kind of look similar to each other. So yeah, I think some of these colors are similar to each other, and I'm pretty sure you can make the same colors out of them if you just dilute. But yeah, anyway, so that is me today. I hope you enjoyed watching me swatch some colors and listening to my little ranty talks of just things that I've been thinking about and stuff like that. Yeah, so thanks so much for joining me on this kind of all over the place video, and I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time. Bye.